Star Citizen Alpha 3.20 is scheduled to arrive sometime later this quarter, and while the patch itself is light in terms of features for the persistent universe, one such feature includes the much anticipated HullC, the long-haul freighter from Misk. While making the ship itself was a challenge for the developers at Cloud Imperial Games, the other reason why the ship had been delayed until now was the impact it will have on the economy. Right now, the biggest hauler in the game is the Hercules C2 from Crusader Industries, featuring a nice 696 SCU of cargo capacity, and several trade runs with this ship can easily deplete an outpost of resources, including outposts that have an inventory of 30,000 SCU of barrel, because remember that the inventory is shared throughout all of the different game servers. So, can you imagine how quickly will the inventories deplete once the HullC arrives? Of course, we all know that the HullC would not be able to land at planetary outposts to pick up or drop off cargo. This ship will only be able to do so from one space station to another, and right now there is basically only one commodity that can be bought at these stations, and that is scrap, which raises the following question. Are CIG going to keep it that way for Star Citizen Alpha 3.20, or will trade be readjusted to make it sense to use HullCs? Naturally, I do not have the answer to that question, but I think that we can still take a look at what the developers could do to give the upcoming massive hauler a purpose in the verse. Hence, since the HullC would only be able to trade from station to station, I think it's only natural that these stations, especially those equipped with cargo decks, finally fulfill their purpose as orbital trade hubs. You see, cargo decks were introduced a long time ago already, along with Star Citizen Alpha 3.11, and have always been supposed to act as transit hubs for cargo. Freight gets shipped from station to station with larger haulers like the HullC, and then gets distributed to the surface to landing zone or local outposts with smaller haulers like the Freelancer or the Constellation. That is how it is supposed to be. The problem is that until now, those stations equipped with cargo decks have never fulfilled their roles because they don't accept much cargo. In fact, they only buy very limited quantities, so nobody is trading from outpost to station. In addition, apart from scrap or waste, these stations do not offer anything in terms of trade opportunities either, so they tend to be ignored by haulers who instead usually focus on outposts to landing zone trade routes. This needs to change. What I think Cloud Imperial Games should do instead is to have these cargo desks buy everything that is legally produced by the outpost of the planetary system it is located. For example, the new Seraphim station would therefore buy everything that's being bought on Selim, Yela, and Daymar, but of course there would have to be a catch here, and that catch would be that it would have to be bought cheaper than what the local landing zone Horizon would buy, say with a profit that would be about half of the profit you would make if you had been to Horizon. Then, all of the commodities that would have been bought by Seraphim Station would then be stored in the cargo deck until other traders would come and buy these commodities for a slightly more expensive price. Then these traders would, depending on their ship, buy these commodities and travel to another planet, say Microtech, where they would either sell the commodities to Port Tressler for a cheaper price than they would have sold them at the Commons, but still with a profit, which would obviously make more sense with a HullC, or directly to the Commons with a smaller hauler. Now, with this solution, I only see one problem though. A lot of players would not be interested in making short trips from moon to station because the profits would be much lower than going from an outpost to a faraway landing zone. Of course, such short trips would probably be safer and guarantee a steady flow of income. There would also be no need to go through a deep atmosphere or take a tram from a spaceport to a TDD, but I would still imagine that a lot of players would still rather do it, especially those with smaller ships, because the profits from moon to station with a Cutlass or Freelancer would be quite low. That is why I think that Quantum would be the solution here. With the simulation that is yet to be, hopefully we'll know more about its status during this year's SeasonCon by the way, NPCs would be able to do those trades for human players. Sure, they would also figure out that the profits wouldn't be that great, but they will rationally be able to understand that they will have less chances of being attacked by pirates, and therefore a route like that would be safer and thus more attractive. The cargo decks of these orbital stations would therefore be continuously refilled by NPCs thanks to the quantum simulation, allowing players to then use their HullCs to then trade massive quantities of goods from one planet to another, as it has always been intended. So there you have it, how I think the HullC will work within the economy of Star Citizen. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that with 3.20 there won't be much gameplay or opportunities available for HullC owners, but who knows, maybe CIG will have something similar or another solution to make this massive hauler relevant at launch. But let me know in the comment section down below, how do you envision the HullC to work at launch? Will it be useless like the Reclaimer was useless for so many patches after release? Do you think there's another solution that would allow its owners to use it effectively? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below. This video was made possible by the awesome people who support this channel on Patreon or on the YouTube membership program like Dr. Frobin, Zeo Crusher, and Deplorable Infidel. If you enjoy my content and would like to help the channel too, you will find the links in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Erad, and I'll see you guys in the next one.